What does it mean to us? You know, you're a young black man, you're a young black man. What is it about wellness that really strikes home for you? What is it about your mental health that you feel like you need to investigate a little bit further? What is it? What does it mean to you?
Well, I think with mental health, one thing that I've realized over the years is that we need to treat mental health the same way we treat physical health. You know, like when you're sick, you have a cold, right? Like like your health is not gonna be like throughout a year, you're gonna get sick. Like you might be worn out, you might be tired physically, right? But I think we don't look at our mental health in the same way. But I think I've started to look at my mental health in that way, in the sense that it's not going to be consistent. I'm not always going to be like positive and happy. I'm not always going to be like, do you know what I'm saying? So I think we need to look at that. There's going to be periods where we need certain medicines, like physically,
Yeah,
you might need,
yeah. You're on the
you
money
might need
still.
rest. You might need, do you know what I'm saying? So I like to look at mental health like that. And then with mental health as well, I think just understanding context, because I feel like sometimes black mental health or mental health in the black community is different from other people because of the struggles that we've been through, the way we grew up and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's my take on it. Like, and mental health is important, it's key. You know, without your mental health being at its high, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle to show up as your best self.
Is there a link then with sort of your level of mental health and just your life in general and your life goals in general?
Yeah, I think in life, if you're not 100%, like if you're not at your best, you're not going to be able to perform your best, whether that's physically, mentally, like it's all balance. Like we know about balance, we read about balance, we study about balance.
Maybe not just being
So
at your best, but being at a baseline level of being able to feel like you can do the day to day, you can do work, you can do family stuff. And I think, yeah, if your mental health is on the low at that moment, you are going to struggle, yeah.
no, but my point is that like if you want to perform at your highest, I feel like your mental health needs to be in a
Top
good
notch,
place. Yeah, in a
yeah.
good place. Like if you want to be able to show up, and I'm speaking for myself anyway. I know that when my mental health is down, I might not show up as much. I might not show up as I need to. Whereas my mental health, like for example, and I feel like other aspects of your health can affect your mental health. So for example, if I'm not going gym, my mental health might not be at its optimum. You know, but if I want to, like, if I'm trying to go out in business and work and be at my best, I feel like my mental health needs to be at its best as well, so I can show up and perform.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it took until my mid-20s to realize the importance of valuing my mental health. Like, I think I made this analogy before when we spoke about this briefly on another episode, where it's like, oh, if you've got a cold or a flu, you're quite easy to share with others that, oh, you're a bit under the weather. But if you're feeling a bit down or depressed or anxious, for myself, and I feel like some other people might feel the same as well, it's not as easy to open up and say, oh, I'm feeling a bit down, I'm feeling a bit, can't be bothered today, sort of thing. And I think it took some time to realize, what are my medicines, like Daps has mentioned. If I've got a cold, I know I've got my vitamin C, I've got my Lemsip, I'm going to rest, I'm going to be right as rain. But what are my medicines? What are my strategies to make sure I'm functioning as good as I can be with my mental health? And for me, what that looks like is, who can I speak to and open up to? Daps has mentioned gym. That's super important. Some sort of physical activity, walking. Who do you find it easier to open up to, whether it's friends or family? And sometimes when you're feeling unwell, you just kind of have to feel unwell, go through that process. Okay, cool, I'm not feeling so great today. It's fine. Tomorrow's a new day. Let me stay optimistic, sort of thing. So I think for me, the important thing has been to value my mental health as much as my physical health, and know what my medicines are, know what my strategies are. Because as an adult, yeah, it's tough. It's difficult. So
Yeah, life does have a funny way of sort of getting at you. I hear what you guys are saying in terms of like optimum performance and stuff like that, and I think just even from just the easy point, it's like just to be okay, like you just got to be okay. Like it doesn't have to be And I like the fact that you mentioned that you were talking about yourself, Daps, in terms of sort of, yeah, for you and ultimate performance. I think just for people to skate through life, I think it's just important that you're making decisions with a level head. You know, you're not under unnecessary pressure that you could have dealt with. You're not dealing with trauma, because the worst thing about bad mental health, I don't even like using those words together.
Yeah, that's a phrase I used on
Yeah,
the
like
previous episode. Yeah.
I think one of the most significant things about when your mental health is not at its best is we don't know what we're doing when we're doing it. We don't know how we're reacting to certain things. It just creeps up on us. And then after, we're then sat there thinking, oh, I could have done this a little bit better. I could have responded a little bit better. And I think the trick is to just ensure that prior to making a decision, you've got yourself in a rhythm and routine of looking after your mental health first. I like that you sort of pointed out things that you do, you know, the walking and stuff like that. I think the gym is something that there's been a rise in the utility of gym amongst people from our generation, and I couldn't be more prouder of people just prioritizing that. I think family is important, not just the family that you're born into, but the family that you create, you know, the clan. What types of conversations do you have with your people? Are you keeping each other accountable on your goals? I think those things there, words mean a lot, right? Like, words mean a lot to me. And for me, you can go through certain things in life, but sometimes there's a way that words soothe you, you know, knowing that, you know what, I care for this person. This person cares for me enough to keep checking up on me, you know, and that's where it comes down to, like, you know what, I owe it to these people as well as myself to ensure that I'm at a good stage. But yeah, I think, yeah, having that mental health is really, really important. We speak about that. I think we're three young black men sat here. I think it's important for us to talk about sort of mental health within our community, the black community, what that looks like. There is a stigma, you know, we can speak about the elephant in the room. There is a stigma surrounding sort of black mental health and stuff like that, or was. I think, do you think there still is?
Yeah, I believe that's like a cultural stigma, especially in an African household or African background. It's like you're not allowed to be depressed. You're not allowed to feel. You're just supposed to just get on with it. Just be strong. Like, that's how I grew up. That's how a lot of us grew up, in a sense that don't talk about your feelings. Like, just push past it. And I'm like you as well, in a sense where it was only until like my mid-20s or like my early 20s that I started realizing that, okay, mental health is a thing. But when I was younger, I didn't necessarily think about my mental health. I thought about my physical health when I was sick, but I didn't really have challenges with my mental health until I went through something, or until I didn't start to feel okay. So yeah, there's definitely a cultural stigma, and then there's this thing of like in our community of just being strong, and that we're just strong. We're black, so we're strong. Like, so you got to be the strong black man, strong black woman. So there's that stereotype and pressure for us not to be vulnerable, not to be weak, etc. So there's that. And then there's trauma, you know, the trauma that we faced, systematic racism, growing up in the UK or growing up in a community where we're not the majority, and there's systems in place to, you know, bring us down. It's, you know, the media perceiving us a particular way, you know, just walking outside, and, you know I've walked outside and people are like, old women are like pulling their purse away, and it's like, bro, like, am I scary? You know, so you know,
You don't deep how much this is having an effect on you. You just, you know.
there's that PTSD as well. You know, like growing up in or seeing things when you was younger, you know, abusive households or not getting that support from family. So now when you're in a similar situation, you just get easily triggered, you know. Growing up in the hood, you might, you know, like just having that, always looking behind your back. Like, that was something I had to overcome. There's something, you know, like when you get on a bus, like going to the top of the bus and just like looking, like when you see somebody,
Yeah, just
like
having your
looking
wits
back.
about you.
Yeah, like just always like
it's such an interesting thing because, yeah, even I feel that as well. And I was never really involved in such activities, but everyone's got these things where they look out for, like, you just got your wits about you. You're on edge sometimes in certain environments, and this contributes to that trauma.